Sven into Ice Blast, and all of a sudden Hokor's just dead. So I think this is where Fly or Crit, probably Fly with the Ogre, has to itemize defensively. You need Glimmer, you need Force Staffs, you need to break the combo. This is what AA lineups thrive on. And if Hokori, if they can get pickoffs with the Ice Blast, then they should have a pretty good time of getting that Morphling to the late game, where then he can match up pretty well versus the Shadow Fiend. But it's just a question of, can they itemize on EG to protect those initiations? Because if they can, then they could have a very, very fast-paced lineup.
Need some Force Staffs of their own, though, on Hokori, right? You're going up against this Beastmaster Skyrath Mage combination. Very potent, that can just get kills on their own throughout the map once you hit the level 6 timing on both of them. Got the Storm Spirit able to exist, but it's those two, if you're able to counter it out with a singular item. Long way towards your victory. Glimmer Cape as well, honestly, fulfilling a pretty similar sort of role.
Yeah, so it seems like both sides are kind of in the same kind of avenue with how they want to try and maybe take some of these skirmishes. Mention Evil Geniuses with the Beast and the Mystic Flare.
Be careful here. He's got all the boys coming up behind him.
Long wraparound from the boys.
Yeah. You're going to want to see how these lanes are set up potentially beforehand as well. That's the purpose of the Hawk that's been laid out between the Tier 1 and the Tier 2 up on the top side. So they don't see anyone for that entire pathway. They know they've avoided a smoke. Back off and just focus on their lanes for now. No pickoffs have been obtained, and Nightfall did actually go for that Call of the Wild, of course. So how they look to set up these lanes with the Olakor. Start with a tri-lane, because it's not horrendous. The Sven stun into the Cold Feet has the potential to be able to get some kill, especially if you can get a slow off as well with the Shield Crash.
Something we saw Liquid do a lot through the last chance qualifiers, where they just aggro even just before the kind of creeps map, doing a lot of damage early on, and then all of a sudden you just TP up the fellow support to have that natural 2-1-2 lane.
But you see they're using the Hawk very effectively. Gardek and Vitali walking underneath it, so they are setting up the lanes like we were wanting to on the top side, and Arteezy was just hanging around that mid lane, only making his movement up towards this side of the map once that was revealed. Now they're going to look at and see his inventory, the fact that he doesn't have the TP available though.
Yeah, this top lane is pretty much how I'm going to expect it to go for the rest of the lane here. Like, this is not fun for Hokori at all. You see just Ignite, raise spams. It's going to be like this for the entire lane, I think.
A little rough for the very beginning, but you're going to have that not necessarily turnaround potential, but as soon as Pango gets more and more points into it, then that's why they're prioritizing the kills onto him, right? We'll try and punish him as quickly as you can. But if he's going to go forward, trying to pick off this kill onto the SF.
Not the case. They might get a double kill turnaround. Pango giving over to Arteezy, but he will miss the short raise. Vitali being able to duck into the tree line. Pango is going to be okay. At least the lane is now getting shoved out, and they don't have the small camp to kind of play around with the equilibrium.
Even looking to dive on in with the Shield Crash just to secure that creep there, also getting a little bit of the damage reduction coming through. A lot of mana. Sure, they were able to secure the first blood, but it wasn't onto the hero that they wanted it to. They would have loved to get that kill onto Vitali so he wasn't getting all of this free XP.
Take a look at how the safe lane's shaping up for Hokori at the moment, because their off lane struggling a little bit. But Lumiere, 6 last hits early on, having a pretty good time. That's what we were asking for the lane, to just put the Sven into the Morphling, being able to protect him. But do we feel like this is going to get difficult as the levels go on here for Hokori's safe lane?
Potentially, but I mean, they've also got some kill threat as well for crit. I know you need to emphasize the attribute shift for the Morphling, but level 4, I feel like they could potentially look to make something happen. This is just more harass coming through, but with no mana left, I don't know if they're going to have the easiest time dealing with these wars for Nitro. Happening in mid lane. I mean, Abed on his Storm Spirit, lane's pushing back into him. Make sure he's securing a lot of that early experience. That's the important timing for a Storm Spirit relative to a Tiny, right? His is for a level 8 Storm Spirit, level 6, where you can really start to make a lot of those early movements happen around the power runes. But Analog's been doing a great job of just making sure to toss Abed up, make sure he gets the stuns off to deny a lot of these last hits off. And you're not going to be accelerating quite as quickly as you would have liked.
Lane, we've got some 2-1v1s going on at the moment. Quite sure who's coming out on top. Arteezy's still trying to man fight Vitali. Angly's going to get some distance away, almost finding that long raise, but with Gardic nearby, pressure the Shadow Fiend to not continue on to try and get that last little bit of damage required to secure the kill.
Not amazingly happy with this though on EG, right? Like, I know it's super early on, but he just got his 10th last hit there on the Shadow Fiend, so just maxed out the Necro Mastery for now. Last in terms of net worth for all the cores, and he might be dying here.
Easy. Is he going to tick out? He will. Gardic with the last right click. Beautifully done. The big kill for them to find. They're not going to be able to get rid of the beefy boy in the Ogre. Shield Crash is coming up shortly, however, but I think Fly will be fine.
I don't think you care, to be honest. I think you'd much rather have an Ogre up here alive, leeching experience away from the Shadow Fiend with little mana. Honestly, a kill might send him back to the base and enable him to get a kill onto Vitali, so I think they're totally fine with leaving the fight here.
Bottom lane, Lumiere. The silence into the burst, crit almost enough damage, but Nightfall isn't able to help out here. No point in the Wild Axes, of course. I mean, expected in this lane where there's no way to deal with the boars, but just didn't have that burst potential to get rid of the Morphling thanks to the Fairy Fire.
Careful, just have a look at Crit's positioning. He's always looking, seeing if he's going to be, morphing a little bit more aggressively. And there we go, he gets caught out.
This time they'll find it. Beautifully done. They had the ward, so they knew Theolocord left the lane. There was going to be no assistance from the Sven to maybe disrupt the spell. Slowing down this Morphling's game, very important, because we spoke about late game matchup versus Shadow Fiend. It's pretty goddamn solid for Lumiere as it goes on. It's always a strength for evil geniuses. No matter the iteration of their roster, their lanes have always been something they pride themselves on. And Nightfall 29-12 compared to the 14-4. Mid lane is looking pretty decent at the moment between Analog and Arbed, but still the Storm is getting a lot out of it.
A decent amount. I mean, it's on the back of a lot of lanes pushing in. That's what a Tiny's going to do naturally, right? With the tree grab, of course, important to be able to secure H last hit, says the Hokori. He's actually going to drop on this bottom side of the map. Pretty important to have that body there available so that Lumiere's got a decent safety net in the lane, but he's getting a lot of this solo experience. He is level 3. Crit doesn't have the biggest mana pool to be able to play with. It'll still be enough. Looks like they actually get the kill onto Gardic.
If they're going to try onto Arbed, just picking up the level 6, power room spawning shortly as well. They're going to have Fly nearby to try and secure the room, but the burst might catch him off guard. Double some beautiful use of the chain control from Hokori. Get a big kill. You need Analog to have a really important early game here to make the space. His rotation's going to pay massive for his farming speed. They're going to be able to chase down Fly, adding another kill to Vitali. It's just a question of who gets the finishing blow. Will be the Ancient Apparition.
On the way back, Analog it's going to be able to walk on through past the Bounty Rune, be able to pick that one up, and maybe even go for a little bit of a backstep here onto the Storm Spirit, but Arbed, he's playing around a full mana pool once again, having come back from the base. They're actually going to scan out Analog. Or will he dodge the scan, actually? Just clips on it.
Expired. Did it clip? I thought it expired. Did it go red for you?
Clip. I think it. Well, I'm red green colorblind, so don't take my word for it.
Oh no, I didn't. No, I didn't. So I don't think he got clipped. It doesn't matter. They're not going for the lane anyway. So chilling, backing off. That's a lot of time out of the lane for the Tiny, but I guess you've got Theolocor. That's soaking up, I should say, some experience.
Mm-hmm. Important for a Sven, against the Shadow Fiend, who's going to have a lot of his levels prioritized. Just having more points in the war cry really effective. Not if Lumiere is going to be dying down on this bottom side, though.
Reformed into the lane. Got some one charges. Let's see if the bonus health is going to be enough for the odds to even use the charges. So another death onto Lumiere. Meanwhile, Hokori, they are shoving Arteezy out of the top lane, so at least they're getting something else across the map.
They're getting something. But you got a mid lane also being shoved in, right? Theolocor, he was starting to make his path back towards
Radiant's bottom tower.
What's he doing here? Arbed's just looking to cheat the waves a little bit here and look to deny away a lot of this gold from Hokori.
Oh? No way. Oh, that was so close. Someone doing a big kill for Lumiere to find. Already his tower's gone down, so he can't continue to play around bottom. It's going to be an incredible Vlad's time, sorry, Helm timing for Nightfall, which he already has. And he can now consider about wrapping on mid if he wants to shortly.
Yeah, I think he can just slow push the creep wave out. I think you're fine to continue farming down here. You know, it's kind of the vengeful spirit situation.
Vitaly. It's going to end up walking through the tree line with the Ancient Seal. Extra magic. It's going to be able to help Arteezy to blow him up. Down the Pangolier. First death of the game for him. Of course, that ultimate's going to be really important for Hokori to potentially get kills up top and open up the map.
Looking to go for the big wraparound, try and find Arteezy on the back lines with the respawn coming through. He's pinging out, hey, this is where I'm looking to play, but senses something's up. Want to commit too deep into the lane, and he's going to back off entirely. Have a smoke available. Do be one of the shortest smokes I've ever seen. End up hitting.
He's in trouble at the moment. Arbit's got plenty of mana to be able to utilize. Just a question if the damage is going to be there fast enough. It will be the case, but the cold feet proc onto Arbit is still going to die out of the tower. So Hokori, I know 1-for-1 trade, but I mean, again, this Tiny needs to be someone that's kind of snowballing the game.
Top tower is under attack.
Indeed. Or also looking to make sure that their Sentry Ward coverage is good, denying away the Hawk that Nightfall had set up there, and there's that wraparound that you were talking about with the Skeleton Army, of course, to be able to assist. Helps matters, but push this one in, up the tempo again. Morphling didn't have the greatest time in lane, sitting last on the cause, so if they can keep this sort of situation a reality, shove out the lanes, commit multiple heroes to make sure that they maintain map control for Lumiere to farm, be very happy still. Not if he dies from this rotation, though. Raw, they've got the Ancient Seal, and they've got the Mystic Flare, more importantly.
The ward at the jungle was able to scout them out, though. I didn't see the pathing from EG. He's going to be able to read that to TP out. I think for Hokori, even though it's a 1,000 deficit, they're starting to pick up their ultimates. Vitaly with the Rolling Thunder. You've got the Ice Blast as well. You need to try and get some pickoffs to be able to open up the map. Easy inside the jungle.
They're tossing out the Ice Blast.
They're going to see him surely. They've got confirmation. Are they going to be fast enough? They will not. Arteezy just surviving, but it looks like without EG around top, this will be a free tower from Hokori. They might be able to trade mid, though.
G looking to make that a priority for themselves. Don't really have anyone to tank up the tower hits, though, ensuring that that siege creep stays alive, so
Radiant's
a little bit of his bottle, but you really want Nightfall to be here. It seems like he's got away from that aspect, considering how much emphasis they put on to protecting this wave. He'd rather just pick up that farm, and that Helm of the Overlord, and unstoppable force about 15 or so minutes into the game. It has been Nightfall that's been the most impressive improvement coming through from EG. And, you know, he really looked incredibly solid all throughout EG's performance, but he is showing up right now.
That he is. And the Beastmaster is really going to enable them. Importantly, the Shadow Fiend, potentially Vision as well, to set up for some of these pickoffs. With a good start that he's having, it's going to be very difficult to deal with this hero. There's someone who can set the tempo. You need to get kills though, Hokori. But this blink, that's what they're waiting for. They have it completed now from Analog. Maybe smoke as these two, but they will be too late to protect the tier 1 tower, so it's going to go down without any contest at all. It could have been a big opening them to take a fight, but EG, they'll get out.
I think it's important if they can keep Nightfall
dead. He might be picked off from crit. Almost enough damage with the Mystic Flare. Gets out of it. And now they're going to jump in mid lane. Arbet, he's able to zip away. Inside the river though, Guardian's going to be in some trouble. It's going to be up to Vitaly with the Rolling Thunder. They won't have the ward to be able to stop him in his tracks, but where's the extra damage coming through? Nightfall's able to step out to the right side, so the Beastmaster's going to be okay for the moment. And now they can turn their attention back to the Pango, but it's just the Ogre flying Nightfall in combination. And they're happy with what they've got. It Rolling Thunder on cooldown and a kill on Guardian.
I have to question their choice of going on to Arbet instead. Oh, it's going to be important to be able to pick him up, but Fly is actually going to live as well.
The raindrops keep this Fly alive, and now the rest of EG, they're going to swing on over for the team fight. Plenty of damage to get rid of Analog. They might be lacking the stuns to catch up to Vitaly though, so the Pangoli be able to position himself back towards the tier 2 tower.
Be able to reclaim that high ground as well, just seeing with how Hokori were able to fight, understanding that they had the vision there. So vision shrinking, you're always going to have the advantage playing with a Beastmaster, and is that timing. I said 15 minutes, but it's just gone so well. They didn't focus in onto Nightfall with that gank attempt
Dire's
when he
top
had his
tower
creep
is
army
under attack.
following him into camp area. Instead, going onto Abed, hit into his infused raindrops. He lived, and he was able to turn it around.
Huzzah!
And for Hokori, stressing a lot this game. They need to get pickoffs. Like this Blink Dagger for Analog, it's an item that enables you to get kills if it's not going to help with your farming. Really see he's starting to fall a little bit further behind if you compare him towards Abed's net worth. We're running to crit up top though. Healer core with Lumiere nearby should be enough damage to be able to kill off the sky. We'll reveal the ward position on the high ground.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, thinking maybe they thought Analog was just moving around, but he picks it out. Like you said, you need to make sure that you're getting a lot of those pickoffs, but a lot of the time it's you get this mid tiny and you pair it together with a position 4 that does a lot of damage. The Hokori does not do a lot of damage, and they look to go for that kill attempt onto the Storm Spirit previously with the AA blast connecting on everything, and he still didn't die. So that's the big area of concern that I've got for Hokori right now.
Do we think the damage is going to come out from the levels? I guess Analog. The whole mid lane. Let's see if he's going to be able to get the toss. He will want to Storm Spirit. Great sidestep from the Tiny, making sure he puts himself directly on the Storm instead of the creeps.
Double damage as well, which certainly helps matters. Around a lot more burst damage coming through onto Abed, and you know, it's that extra little bit of levels coming in handy. Ended up doing 200 damage with the tree throw, which is enough to get to the grave.
Oracle playing in front of Lumiere, so he's going to be able to pop the smoke. Look at the prize target of the Morphling, and Radiant is starting to show up to try and take the skirmish if it does continue on. In the end, it will just be a 1-for-1 trade, nothing crazy.
Slightly worrying for the EG though, isn't it? You know, you've got this Lumiere, he's working his way towards the Manta style, and after that, towards the BKB for himself. They're playing around their high ground pretty effectively on EG, but it's under all of the vision. Got Hokori right now, so if they wanted to make another jump happen with Analog, be able to do so. Maybe not so much when you've got the Siege Creep and the Ancient Granite Golem to play with.
The Great Ward on the cliff.
Scanning.
Scouts are out in the back line as well. Vitali can even initiate as well. They're going to try and bring down Fly. And he was just waiting for them to jump, begging Hokori to try and have the follow-up.
They got the damage. Look at this.
Abed can come into play. He's onto Lumiere on the left side. The attribute shift, he doesn't find it fast enough as Abed. Quick on the fingers with the electric vortex, and he's already looking for more. They've got the ward that scouts out Gardic's position. His Abed is everywhere on the Storm Spirit, and he'll be rewarded for a double kill.
Here we go, straight into Roche Pit. That's exactly where they wanted to take this fight. Probably going to look to give it over to Abed. Second Roche still feels like the timing for EG, and they're going to have the openings to be able to do it.
Radiant's middle
Look at
tower
this. Why
is
he
under
knows that
attack.
he's the bait. He's given up his life, and they commit so much just to try and take out one hero. Onto the backlines, Vitali's trying to chase down Nightfall. They get from the Primal Roar onto the Pango, and Arteezy just chunks him down in about 4 hits. Power of the inner beast aura. That's the power of the
He's glad he's trying to time it, but he doesn't get the Aegis. So close to stealing key component of Roche, but not the case. Is now probably the best hero in the game with a second life to work with.
Illusion.
I mean, that would have done a little bit of the job towards slowing down the game a bit. Illusions to scout out where Lumiere's farming. Also play a little bit more scared, maybe slow down.
Radiant are
Bit
scanning.
of that efficiency from farming. Lumiere, all the SA carries, to be honest, because K1 as well as Lumiere, very, very good farmers once you just give them the space in the jungle to be able to do so. Surprised if they're just taking their attention away from him. Pops out at the very end with the Manta style and towards that Aghanim Scepter, but it's going to be quite some time until he gets to that stage.
Yeah, and the concern I have is, wait for a second, put a Nightfall.
Vision.
Maybe ready to take a fight. Scouting out a Hokori inside the lane. They will be able to retreat as a team though, so Hokori going to be chilling, but yeah, I'm concerned of the item build here for Lumiere because I think he needs another defensive item after the Manta. Like it's a very good Linken's game. That's exactly right. I don't think you can afford it, but I think if you don't go Linken's, then you just die. So it feels like it's a very awkward game to play here for the Morphling. You need the Scepter, but you kind of need another item to be in fighting shape.
You need the spend with that Warcry Aghanim Shard. You need a 4-staff as well. So Gardic, it
Radiant
kind of makes sense to want to
structures
go
are
for his own
fortified.
shard, but he needs force. He needs that to be able to deal with a lot of this burst.
Make or break it defense from Hokori. 6,000 deficit. Not an easy fight for them to take it all. AG don't look to back up. They won't even give that opportunity for Hokori.
Is a big boy once he gets the bloodlust used in on him.
They've gone for the chain control instead of the damage burst from the tiny combo. He's not going to tick out. Nice use of the zip to prevent some of the damage.
Again, every single time that they're not able to claim a kill on EG. They're not able to force the tempo even further. It was to go back to the biggest shot is fine. You've still got that level 12. You've got the ages to be able to play around, but you've got to be making aggressive moves. You've got to have an understanding of where Lumiere's farming at all times. Now, all the way back in base. They're making the right moves. Onto Analog, the main pace setter for Analog that's going to stop a lot of their aggression.
Look at the Mystic Flare burst. Crit just easily walks into the lane to drop the ultimate. Tempo control, the Space Maker going down once again. Third death of the game here from Analog, and now they're going to look to sweep to top. They see Theolacor playing out here. A long zip in from Abed. Pogo sticking to the tree line. Is he going to drop the remnant for the vision? Not the case. Nice TP out.
Making good space. I mean, Analog probably doesn't want to give up his life that freely. Might even look to go into... I guess the Echo Saber makes sense just because the Ogre Axe, but... It's pretty late into the game, but the infused raindrop still gives a pretty good amount of value against this pick. Under that Beastmaster vision, they know exactly where all of Hokori are. No, and Lumiere rotates back, isn't able to play with the rest of the team, and they know they've got backup, so they're going to go on to someone that's a little bit easier.
Just working to the river.
Over here now.
Get as well in Abed. He's not going to be able to find it though. Easy kill onto Guarding. It's just a question of if Lumiere can get out with his own life, and it looks like that will be the case.
Yeah, had to assist with a lot of that though. He's going straight into the Ags. He does change massively. He's able to get to that stage. Round.
He got it. Oh, the Requiem was just fast enough to cancel the TPs. Analog's now stuck up top with no assistance because mid lane another fight is breaking out. The roll to hold him in track. There's nothing you can do with the Rolling Thunder to pummel into him. Getting another kill onto Vitali and also an objective for good measures. EG, the ball is rolling. 11,000 net worth lead, and it looks like there's no stopping these boys.
Yeah, they're not slowing it down enough. Yeah, he's doing his best to try and keep this pressure in onto the bottom side, maybe force a defensive movement out of EG, but they're not interested at all in the bottom side of the map right now. You know, maybe if you could make a movement with just Crit and Abed, but it's like they just want to put all their pressure onto the top side, take that farming avenue away from Lumiere, force him to farm in the riskier positions when they've still got a tier 2 that they can look to take on the bottom side of the map if they were wanting to. But now, top side, that's the main priority for EG.
Another jump in. Abed once again. Theolacor playing with no one. Hokori is so worried about trying to follow up with the burst and potential of EG to turn it around. And now they're even just into the dragon forward guarding. Like, what do I do against a summons?
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Oh, nothing. They can do absolutely nothing against this. And what level is Arteezy? Level 16. Wouldn't you know it? Presence in the Dark Lord affects buildings, and that melts in about 5 seconds with the combination of the Helm of the Overlord. Even just keeping the Beastmaster around just in case for a little bit of that aura.
It feels like they're gonna have such a crazy hill to climb even once Lumiere gets towards his scepter. That's really the last hope. I think they're gonna take one more fight with his scepter. If it doesn't pay off, then they'll probably call it, but it's just going to, like, it could be such high net worth lead that even once he gets the scepter, they're gonna be too far behind where they won't have a way back in.
Actually TP down here to the bottom side of the map. They might be...
Oh, Nightfall's just going to jump over the Sven. Instant use of the BKB. He'll clean up the Ancient Apparition, and meanwhile to the northern side as well as Abed. He himself is all that is required to get rid of the Sven. An attempt from Hokori going begging. Instantly they have to back off with Analog, who's going to duck into the trees.
If he's gonna like Avatos and then blink off and yeah, the TP scroll. Maybe a little bit of PTSD coming out from that previous Requiem used. Might look to get the next wave instead. But Arteezy understands that he's got to hedge his bets a little bit here. You know, he's already gotten into single Hyperstone. He wants to go into the Moon Shard so that even if the Morphling is able to get that Aghanim Shard and have it for a couple of fights, sure, you might lose 70 attack speed and 20% of your agility, which, you know, sucks. But you're still going to have decent enough attack speed with the Inner Beast Aura to still be a significant threat.
Yeah, very interesting. I wonder if we're going to continue to see this kind of be the itemization to deal with this Morphling Scepter. We saw when we were casting PSG OTD on day one, our army went down that route with the Moon Shard on the Faceless Void.
And we've even seen a few teams go the Lincoln Sphere just to prevent it happening, assuming that they don't have some kind of long-range way to be able to break it. But the times that I've seen it actually have been when the hero has illusions, and you're actually still able to steal off of the illusion, and it affects the main hero. So hopefully,
which is
not
so silly.
Caught out by that.
It's so silly how that does that.
Committing heavily in this mid lane, blink in by Nightfall onto the tier 3 high ground and bottom lane as well. They're just cleaning up everyone.
Tower is under attack.
EG just playing the 2-1-2, Arteezy and Fly down bottom. You had Crit and Nightfall that were getting kills across the map along with Arbed with them, and they're going to look to enter high ground and probably end this game as well now. They even need the Roche to potentially be spawning. In fact, it will be spawning in 20 seconds, but EG don't give a damn about that. They go without a care in the world.
A little bit early. Yeah, they were a little bit early on that glyph. You've got the Mask of Madness, you've got the Bloodlust, you've got the Moon Shard on Arteezy. Just demolishes these buildings right now, and you can't afford to buy back on the Morphling. This is what you've been waiting all of this time for, to be able to protect this, to be able to get the Aghanim Scepter timing. It was about 30 or so minutes that you need to be playing around, and it really feels like Hokori only have, well, they have no more mistakes that they can make, to be honest. You've got to give everything over to Lumiere, give him his level 18, and hope he can carry the game forward. So EG will be able to play around that Roshan if they scout it out, pick it up. That Morphling won't be much of a threat. I mean, past the
Radiant are
play on these front lines again. Want to get a pick off because they probably know that Roshan's the next attempt, and Lumiere's just stuck in the base with the not too great gold bounty that you get from killing the super creeps. That is still, his timing is still slowed down, and even experience front, he's leeching it with the rest of his teammates, or being shared. Hit the Aghanim Scepter, but have that level 18 that you need, so there's basically 100% uptime. Got it though. He doesn't reveal himself with the creeps having picked up for about 1 second. I want to see if there were any pings on the map. Doesn't seem like it. We're going to be able to clear out the Hawk as well. Instantly looking to go for a smoke, I would imagine, but that even makes it kind of obvious what you...
Dire are scanning.
In connects. Going behind Lumiere. Acting as the bait is going to be the Morphling. Do the wraparound, or do they continue to follow the wave? You need to get some wards down if they're going to be able to take this team fight. Dragon Ball scout at the positioning, and EG are going to look for them, smoke themselves.
Why? Be a bit careful here.
Jump in. Again, we saw what Fly was able to do prior though. Like, this is a hero, he's just asking for them to jump. He's wanting spells just to be wasted on him. And AG, they don't even care. They're just going to go bottom. They're like, all right, we'll
It's
come
so
back.
silly.
And look at Abed. He sees multiple people flying over the tree line. Oh, what a beautiful play from the Storm Spirit, just going exactly to where we would expect Hokori to TP back.
Oh man, they're just doing everything right, and even with this Fly, I asked for him to get the Aghanim Shard at the very start of the game when you consider this is probably going to be coming at an equivalent time to the Morphling getting the Aghanim Scepter, and he's got enough gold to be able to buy it if he wants. Shun.
Dire's bottom
It's like
tower
going to be
is
the
under
next
attack.
priority for EG. I would imagine that they're going to give the Aghanim Shard over to Arteezy this time. A little bit of that extra damage. He's already got crit sources, but a little bit can never hurt. Wraparound.
So lost in fight. Look gets the jump at Arteezy, quick on the fingers with the BKB and the Requiem charge up, and now they've got firm control of the area. Nothing they can do on Hokori. They're just too far behind with a net worth lead insurmountable, as Evil Geniuses will be able to secure the game 1 victory 28 minutes in.
Yeah, this is kind of what happens when you go the not great responses to the fast draft in the first phase, right? The Ancient Apparition, the Morphling picked up super early on. You don't have
Probably the lane